and welcome back to Insights from the Unsighted by Rosebud. I am so glad to have you back, and I'm actually so glad to be back by myself. I did take a small break and enjoyed Easter and vacation and birthday and all kinds of other things of life. So I'm a little bit behind in terms of keeping my promise of doing a video once every week. It's been a little bit more than that. But I'm back on track, and I hope that you're going to be back on track with me. As a reminder, the last time you looked at the last video, it was, what are you tethered to? And I said then it was going to be a two-parter. On that one, I even changed the introduction. There were not the nature pictures and all that. Instead, you saw me actually walking outside, actually tethered to someone. And I showed you the rope that had two loops on each side. And I was holding on to one and somebody was holding on to the other. And I used that as an introduction to what tethering is. In that example, it was an actual tether. I was tethered to a person. And then I did that so that I would be able to walk outside without my cane, have some speed, not drift, stay focused, stay in direction and all that. And all of that was a wonderful visual and symbolically showing the internal tethering that we all have. And that's what part two is about today. What are you tethered to? When I started looking inside myself, and then of course I always do a lot of research on every topic, one thing kept coming up. And I guess it's because it's the world we live in now. And that is that almost all of us are tethered in some way to social media. Now I know some of us older people, I won't define what's older, I'll let you do that. But some of us may say, oh, no, that's not me. That's the younger generation. Well, true. Children, teenagers, millennials, they love the social media, but they're not the only ones. I am in my 60s, and I have gone to lunches and dinners with friends, and I can tell when their minds are drifting. And I'm like, are you looking at your phone? And they have to admit, yep, yeah, I am. I'm just looking up something real quick. You know, it's just amazing to me how we have gotten so tied to this monitor thing. Whether it's a game, whether it's something we just have to Google right now, we are so connected to it. And sometimes we're connected so much until it really is a tether. And it's not necessarily a good one, because it's taking us away from other things that matter, like a conversation, like being with a friend, like really being with family. We always like to say that I'm tethered to my family, but when we're sitting around the dinner table or in a restaurant, are we tethered to the family, or are we tethered to the monitor? In my research, there was a word that came up, and it was created by, interestingly, Silicon Valley people who are really into social media and technology. And yet they're the ones that started realizing with everything good, we can turn it into something that's not so good. And when they started realizing how much so many of us are connected to social media, they created a word called brain hacking. I'll let you look at that and think about that for a second. And you notice the word hacking is written in red. Red usually means danger or stop. Because when we allow something to hack our brains, it becomes negative. It becomes something we need to be mindful of. The word hacking, we're accustomed to hearing. You know, all my accounts were hacked. My email was hacked. And hacking, therefore, is not good, obviously. It means that something is controlling it. We're not in control anymore. Brain hacking means the same thing. We are allowing something to control our own brains. Now, I could go on throughout the whole video talking about how social media and technology can and sometimes does control our own brains. But I think I've given you enough for you to think about that on your own. Are you tethered a bit too much to social media, to the computers, to monitors, to any of the technology that's supposed to be enhancing our lives, and instead it's stripping our brains? That would be a bad tether. There are a few other things that might not be as good for us to be tethered to, that might be hindering us from being the best me, the best you that you can be. Another might be unforgiveness. Unforgiveness can stifle us. If we continue to carry around somebody, the thought that somebody did something to us, and sometimes they're not even living anymore, or a friend that we're so upset with that we can't forgive them. We think we are showing them, I'll show her, I'm not going to forgive her. And instead, we're being so tethered to unforgiveness that it's stifling us, not the person that we claim we have not forgiven. I was in a Bible study recently, and that topic came up, and a guy said, oh, Pastor, I know what you mean, because there's a guy that, I just could not forgive him for the world, but I've forgiven him now. And he said that very proudly. He said, unless he comes around me. Now, if he comes around me, I'm mad all over again. But otherwise, I've forgiven him. And we all just kind of went, no, that's not forgiveness. Because he's allowing his unforgiveness to continue to stifle him. He's being tethered to it. Every time he thinks he's moved away from it, it just kind of yanks him back. That's what tethering negatively means. Now let's look at some positive things that we should be tethered to. Many of you emailed me earlier and you said, I know I'm tethered to my family. I'm tethered to my children. I'm tethered to my spouse. All those are wonderful people, things to be tethered to. But what is underneath that is what you're saying is you're tethered to love. Real, genuine, unconditional love. That's a really good thing. I'm tethered to God, who has given me unconditional love. I'm tethered to God's word, which guides me. Please don't turn the channel. This isn't a religious program. But I think that if I'm asking you to share with me what you're tethered to, I should be allowed to share with you. Now, if you happen not to be a God follower, a word follower, fine. Perhaps you're saying, no, I'm tethered to character traits. Well, so am I. And one that I truly try to maintain is integrity. Because in my way of thinking, if you have integrity and you really work on it, then all the other character traits fall into place. Because you can't have integrity and be dishonest. You can't have integrity and be unkind. You can't have integrity and be not be compassionate to others. I looked up to integrity and it said to be honest, upright, moral, and undivided. Oh, I love that word, undivided. That means you don't change your mind with the next new thing that comes around. You know, sometimes we're so into the movie stars and whatever. And so we think that we're really like this person, or, oh, no, it's the next thing. But to really have integrity, you don't change. That which you love, you love. That which you value, you value. So, this whole idea about being tethered, I really want and hope that you look at those things that's controlling your mind. Is it good or bad? Is it enhancing your life? Or is it taking away some time from things that are important? I'd like to end with this particular quote, and I want you to just look at it for a moment. All right? I wish I could give credit to this quote, but when I was looking through things, I read it, but it didn't really say who said it, and I thought it was really powerful. And it says, when we let go what controls us, we are free to choose what matters most in our lives. It's been up for a few seconds because I wanted you to really see it before I even said it. And two words in here are very powerful to me: let go and control. In order to control our own minds, our own thoughts, our own actions, our own words, sometimes we've got to let go of things that really don't matter. So I challenge you today to truly look at, what are you tethered to? Are they things that matter, or are they things that are controlling us? I hope that you will take this whole idea of tethering seriously, because we are definitely going to be tethered to something. So we may as well make it count. Until next time, be kind to yourself and be kind to others. This is Rosebud.